Hey everybody, Jeff here, East Texas ADV. Hey, today's video, the WR250r, as well as a lot of the dual sport bikes, have notoriously small fuel tanks. Your options are buy a larger fuel tank, carry fuel in a backpack, in a water bottle, or let's say an MSR fuel bottle, which is only, 16 ounces? And face it, 16 ounces, a pint, is not going to get you but 10 or 15 miles. And then you're going to be looking for fuel all over again. Now, I have to figure out how to overcome the shortcoming of the fuel range of the WR. When I bought it, it had a 2.9 3-gallon tank on the bike, but it still limits the bike to 130 miles before the fuel light comes on. Enter 3D Moto with a pretty ingenuitive idea, and that is their 5-liter auxiliary fuel tank kit. What you get in the kit is you get a 5-liter fuel container, you get the mounting bracket that holds the fuel container onto your rack set up. The nice thing about 3D Moto's products is they intertwine, I'd say. If you don't want to put the side rack on, as I'm going to demonstrate here in a few minutes, this will bolt directly to their rear rack. No drilling, no nothing. You just take the rear rack off, screw it down to it. Better yet, when you get the rear rack, order the fuel container as well, and just do it all in one shot. Easy peasy. Now, this mounting system uses the existing threaded holes on the helmet lock. So, and that is what this is right here. This will actually, you will take these bolts, these nuts off of these bolts. You will use all 3 of these bolts, but you will not use these nuts. He just secures the screws, bolts, to the bracket so you don't lose them in transit. So anyway, these will go where your helmet lock is. You have a spacer. This is the spacer to bring out the can far enough to avoid hitting anything as your plastics, etc. Now the fun part. This is the support bracket. Anybody say, does that look familiar? If you're thinking the mounting bolts where your rack goes that holds up your tidy tail and your stock fender, you would be 100% correct. So this will go between your tidy tail and the frame of the bike on the underside of the fender. This ties into this piece right here. So you will remove these bolts. It goes basically, this is how it mounts. Be sure everything is loose before you mount these up. That way you don't run into any problems with fitment. So anyway, it also comes with your U-bolts, a key lock to lock your fuel tank onto your bike. Very versatile, looks well built. Again, 3D Moto, they really take a lot of pride in their products and functionality. So I'm done babbling. So we're going to go ahead and get our tools together. Go ahead and hit pause once the list of tools that you will be needing pop up on the screen. Get everything together, and we'll see you here in a minute. All right, so let's get started. So what you're going to first need to do is you need your key so you can open your helmet lock. And then go ahead and remove your key, don't lose it. You're going to take a T30 Torx bit and you're going to remove your helmet lock. Because this is where the main support is going to bolt to the frame of the bike. Whoops. All right. You do not need this bolt any longer, so go ahead and set it to the side. Take your side support right here. You're going to take these two nuts off the bolt. You don't need them for anything. And they will fasten to these two pre-threaded holes right here. Just like that. And these are a 4mm, which I'm putting in now, and a 5mm Allen head. Okay, this one isn't really wanting to go in, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a die, or a tap, excuse me, and I'm going to tap these threads and clean them out, because this is the only one that's used. So there may be gunk built up in the thread pitch of this mounting point, this hole. So we're going to go ahead, we'll figure out which tap it is, and I'll make sure I include that. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I was wrong. If you look, the lock goes like this. This is the original mounting hole right here. It still had some gunk built up into it, but I'm going to chase them both. Double check your measurements and your thread pitch to make sure you don't chase these threads with the wrong size tap. So I came up with a M8 by 1.25 pitch for the larger one, which is here, and an M8 by 1.0 for this one. So if you don't need the tool, I wouldn't use it, but just kind of get it started. Coat it with something if you want, but just kind of screw it in there, chase it, you know. You could clean it out with carb cleaner or whatever, but I really tried, and honestly, it didn't do anything. This bike is a 2016. There's so much grime and crap and everything in there, and it actually started to cross thread. So we didn't need the tool at all. Chase it and then chase the smaller one. Again, this is a M6 with a 1.0 thread pitch. See, it's not really wanting to, don't force it if it doesn't want to go. There it goes. There we go. See it? Kind of just don't force it. You do not want to cut new threads on this, okay? So we're just going to kind of go through there, get a good start point, kind of go back and forth. If you want to coat it with some oil, you can. Okay, it is all the way through. I chased the threads all the way through. This is loose because I just installed this top rack, and we are going to need to install another bracket for support for the auxiliary fuel tank. Go ahead and use the supplied screws like I already tried to start. If you want to Loctite these, go ahead. Now look at this. See how much nicer they go in? Yeah, there we go. Gonna make me a liar, isn't it? All right. Again, don't tighten everything up too damn tight. Yeah, see, they go in really nice now. Okay. Do not tighten everything down too tight, just in case you need to make some adjustments. So, see, it's pretty loose still. Now for the fun part. This bracket right here is going to go between your nuts that hold your top rack, your rear rack on. So we're going to go ahead and move the camera so we can get a good view of that. All right, so we're going to first have to take these nuts off of here. And it is a 10 millimeter on the nut, and the bolt is a 4 millimeter Allen head on the top here. This is going to be a lot of fun, just because I don't have a lot of hands. Remove your tidy tail, put the nuts to the side. Whoa, or drop them and lose them. That one hit my foot, so I know exactly where it's at. I can see it. All right, move both sides of your tidy tail. What I think I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna come up and go ahead and get this started. If you can hold it up, grab your tidy tail. Like, this is where if you had help, it would be really, really beneficial to have help. You only need to get really one started. Okay, so once you get it started, the first one, it's going to be a lot easier. Do the second one. Do not go too tight because you're going to need to manipulate this other bracket down here, this other mounting point right here. Okay, so get it just tight enough to where those nuts will bite. Take your, oh, I thought I had these on the wrong side for a second. Take your other part of the other side of your tidy tail or your fender. Just get it to where the threads bite. And by the fourth one, hey, you're a seasoned pro. And it's a lot easier said than done. Bam, okay? There we go. Now, do not tighten anything down yet. Remember, leave everything loose. That way, if you run into any fitment issues, you can manipulate the braces in a way to get it together. Because if you look right now, this is not going to go together the way it is right now. So we're going to have to manipulate it to where it'll bolt up nice and easy, which it should, because there's only about that much of a difference. So, all right, so let's go ahead and move the camera again. So I'm having kind of an issue getting these to line up, and it's probably nothing with the rack itself. So what we're going to do is we're just going to remove this top nut, throw everything on the floor. Ugh. Just
to be able to move it just a little bit more. That almost lines up perfect. So what we need to do is you're going to put this 4mm Allen head okay. So for some weird reason, all right, just a little bit of a tweak there. There we go. Perfect. See that? Okay, now we're good there. That went through. Take your washer, your nylon lock nut, leave it nice and loose. Come back up here, jiggle this back and forth to get this to start, to thread. Once it's started, perfect. Now you can go ahead and tighten down all your fasteners. Now you may need to put the 4mm Allen bolt up at the top to keep it from spinning, but I'm not having that problem now. So cinch everything up. See, this one is spinning, so sorry about hitting the camera there. Okay. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but as soon as it starts getting a bite, now this one I'm going to have to use the Allen head because it's going to fight me. Okay, so sorry about camera again. Make sure you're nice and tight on the rack. You really don't want this to fall off. I don't know, maybe you do. Hell. 10mm and a 4, not a 5. So go ahead and tighten this bad boy up. Now you can use Loctite. Not really needed though because these are nylon nuts on the back of all these. All right. For the final tighten up. These bad boys where the old helmet lock used to be. Wow, they're kind of, you probably should tighten these first before you tighten this one. So I would tighten these two, then move down and tighten this one up. Because it's kind of being difficult. There we go. All right, so next you want to use your spacer. And the spacer looks like this. See this little indent right here? You are going to put it on right here, just like that. Okay? You have the stock U-bolts that I'm assuming they would go around a roll bar or something similar. I do not think we will be using these at all. We will be using these fasteners right here. All right, when you use this mounting point and you attach it to your brackets, there are two different ways you can do it. You have this way, which is recommended, or you can turn it 180 degrees and mount it like this. The problem with mounting it like this is that you could possibly run into some clearance issues between the auxiliary fuel can and the tail rack. Check, make sure if you're gonna mount it like this, that you make sure you've got the clearance so when you need to get to the tank. So again, 180, flip it around. This is recommended, but it will go on the bike both ways. Just keep in mind, if you do it like this, you might run into some issues as far as the filler hitting the luggage on the tail rack. So this is the way I'm gonna mount it. I'm gonna put it horizontal. That way everything is up. So I don't know that we need the, whoopsie. I don't know that we need the spacer. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Actually, you don't really need the spacer, I don't think, if you don't want to use it. It's so totally up to you. I will get with Boris and find out what the reasoning for the spacer is. To me, that's just going to move it out further away from the bike. So anyway, now that you've got this test fitted, go ahead and come on the back side. Get your washers started. Come on, baby. Your nuts with the nylon lock on them, your nylon lock nuts. Okay? Remember, everything loose at first. And I don't really need to show you what I'm doing. I'm assuming you guys can probably figure it out, understand it. So, all right, bam, and again, for a millimeter. And it's okay probably to tighten everything down now. All right, so I think I know why you need the spacer. The screws are kind of difficult to get to, so I'm just going to try it without the spacer for right now. But I would install it the way that it's intended from 3D Moto. And if you guys have any questions, comments, post them down there in the comment section below. So, okay, now what it is I just can't get the socket on the back side of that nut because the bar is in the way. That's the only issue with that. That's why I can't get that one tightened down. So, let's just test fit this thing and see what we get. Starts clicking, keep going, give it a little bit of a jiggle. Boom. If you haven't done it yet, make sure all this stuff is tightened down. You've got these 4 nuts here. You've got these 5 nuts and bolts here. That's it. I mean, it took us a total of maybe 45 minutes to get this thing mounted up. It may take you a little bit longer as my rack was already halfway off. Thanks for watching, and as always, ride safe.